Jacob, what up, man?
Not a lot, man. What's going on?
Nothing, man. Same old. Yeah. So go ahead and give them an idea about who you are and how we met in the first place.
All right. My name is Jacob Gentry, and I was on the after prison show. I was exonerated in February of 2016. Uh, Originally charged with first degree murder. Uh, Found guilty of aggravated manslaughter and given a 35-year sentence. I won my direct appeal and got a new trial, and the appellate decision that won me my new trial actually like became a precedent law. And as far as like a lot of people have heard of like the stand your ground law in Florida, with all
Yeah.
that Trayvon Martin, it was real big in the news, the stand your ground law. Well, New Jersey, he's got the opposite of that. It's called the duty to retreat is their policy. So basically that's why they said that's why I lost my first trial, because they said I had a duty to run away from this guy and not fight him. But the appellate court ruled that just because I entered into a fight mutually with somebody doesn't mean that I entered into a fight to the death.
Right.
And that if the jury believed at any time that I became afraid for my life or serious bodily injury, that I could in fact use justifiable homicide. That's what they found. But
Damn.
actually, fun fact: today, August the 17th, this makes 16 years since the day I got arrested for first degree murder.
That's crazy, bro, because we was talking about the other day. Mine was August 19th. And we kept finding all them things that was in sync with each other. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and let them know too that you're from Tennessee, but this all took place in New Jersey, correct?
It did.
Okay. So why don't we go ahead and we'll kind of break it down where you could tell the story if you want about yourself, about a little bit of background, what led up to it, then tell exactly what happened, how it was in prison up to your lawyer getting you out and where you're at right now. So go ahead and just the floor is yours. Just go ahead and say everything you want to, let them know.
Okay, so when I was 27 years old, uh, I was living kind of wild, living kind of reckless, and I really wanted to just live a normal life, man, and straighten my life up and do the right thing. And I got a call that said, I was offered a job in a place called Pine Island, New York. I'd never heard of the place before, but I really needed to go to work. So I said, yeah, it was actually at that time, it was the most I'd ever made on an hourly rate. It was $31.50 an hour. When I got out there, I was working like 90 hours a week, so I was making really good money, but I was working just insane hours,
Yeah.
like 90 hours a week. Uh,
Right.
my job, I worked on the environmental crew, and it was my job to make sure that like no mud got on the roads, and like to control the erosion. I had to put up lots of like barriers to keep mud where it's supposed to go, so that it doesn't like wash away. Because when we come through, they're building those pipelines, like the grass and stuff keeps the dirt from washing away. But then once you clear all that away, it just becomes like a big mudslide. So there's a lot of work for me.
Okay.
But anyway, I had met this chick um at the Deja Vu at the strip club in Lansing, Michigan before I came out there. And I got out there, and there's kind of a whole big backstory to that, but we can do that one at a later date. But as the gist of the situation is, I told somebody at my job that I had met this girl at the strip club, and she wanted to come out there and live with me. And like my truck had just been seized by the police, and this girl had bought me a bus ticket to come out there, and I didn't even have a car out there. And so when she said she wanted to come out, I'm just like, yeah, all right, come on. I told some guy I worked with that she was coming, and then that guy went and told somebody, and then that guy went and told somebody. And by the time that girl showed up, like whatever it was, like 10 hours later, that whole building, which it is like a It was an old resort. Like Hugh Hefner built that place. It was like the original Playboy Club, and they had tennis courts and swimming pools and ski slopes. And like back in the day, it was a uh, real nice place. But by the time I stayed there, it was a little bit run down. They called it the Shining,
Oh,
but it was
The
full.
Shining, like the movie.
Yeah, it was full of like my coworkers, like we all the people that were there
Yeah,
living in that
get it.
place. We all worked together on that pipeline job.
Seen
So
places
it's like
like
full
that.
of dudes. And by the time that girl got there, like all these dudes were just waiting to like
You
see
try to
what she
talk
looked
to her.
like and all that.
Yeah, they were all like, "Oh, we got a girl coming. She's a stripper."
Yeah, yeah. That was crazy.
Right. Okay.
So then she shows up and it was like a big scene, you know. And I told her, I said, look, man, it's not that I'm jealous. I don't want you talking to people. Like that ain't the case, but I'm trying to tell you right now, like a lot of these guys that I work with, they're uh they're kind of wild, you know, and it's just a matter of time before somebody says something to you or does something to you that you're not gonna like, and you're gonna come crying back to me, and you're gonna want me to fight them or some bullshit. And I'm out on bail right now in 2 states. I'm out on bail in Michigan. I'm out on bail in Wisconsin. I'm living in
For the
New
weed charges.
Jersey, and I'm working in New York.
Those are for the weed things you was telling me about. So
Yeah.
the background, at least they kind of understand about what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, long story short, I had got caught with a chunk load of weed. I got a little bullshit ass case in Wisconsin, and they tried to charge me with a felony, which should have only been a misdemeanor. And the dude was just trying to scare me into like ratting somebody, and I wouldn't do it. So he's like, "All right, I'll see you in court." So I went. My bright idea was to go to New Mexico and throw a Hail Mary and just spend everything I had and just buy a whole bunch of pounds and come back, and you know, then
Mm-hmm.
I'd have money to hire a lawyer and whatever else, you know, just get up on my feet. And long story short, I got caught coming back, you know,
So
and ended up bailing out for that.
and that all
And
leads up to this right
I
here.
I I don't did I tell all this whole story on Matt Cox? I can't remember. I think I might have, but
Oh, that's another channel you was on, right? The True Crime
yeah, I
Pod.
was on Inside True Crime with Matt
Okay.
Cox, and I told about. So there's a whole aspect
Hey,
to the story where like I went to a psychic, and a psychic like
yeah.
told me this was all going to happen,
Go ahead and
and
tell
really
them.
that changed my whole life. Like
Right. Go ahead.
I'm
Let them
super
know.
into like astrology and psychics and magic and shit now, because I watched this happen. Like the lady, she didn't even just tell me that it was going to happen, she told me when it was going to happen. Matter of fact, this is a good day to tell the story. She said in the middle of August. You know, like, so I'll just tell you exactly. I was scared to death. I thought I was about to get hella time over that weed. And I was on my way up there to Wisconsin to go to court. And by the way, when I showed up for court, they had already dropped that shit down to a misdemeanor. So I did all that for nothing.
Right.
You know, I got some wild ass stories, dude.
I know we're gonna have a part two at least for sure. And before I forget, we would let them know, yeah, you was on Matt Cox True Crime podcast. I don't know if we should say who we're both about to go on here soon. I don't know how he would feel. You think he would want us doing that, or should we wait to expose it?
I don't know. See, it's kind of like the thing that
I
I
don't want
told
to
everybody I was going
disrespect
to be on
him.
Soft White Underbelly, and then you ghosted me. So then I kind
Exactly.
of
So
felt dumb.
let's just let it hang in the air and let them know that we were both on after prison shows. So shout out to Joe Guerrero for that, and just the fact that he's such a cool dude. Try to put us both on the map. He's a selfless
Yeah,
dude.
we wouldn't be talking right now if it wasn't for Joe.
Exactly. He's very
I
selfless.
wouldn't have a YouTube
Where
channel if it wasn't for Joe.
Yeah, same here. Well, mine would have probably not took off as good. So he's always trying to help people, is what I was pretty much getting at. That was cool. And before this is up, we're gonna do what he did for us. Put your social media out there and whatnot. I believe that's what this needs to be about from now on. Whenever I do ever do anything like this, I want to make sure it's about them and get them, followers, subscribers. So everybody, once you hear what the name is, everybody go check them out. Also, what we was getting at is we are both about to be on another show this Thursday and Friday. We both have interview appointments, but we'll just leave it at that. You guys will see it when they see it. And then we'll give him a shout out, the person that we're talking about. So go ahead and
Yeah,
get into that. Go ahead and leave off wherever you was wanting to go to with that. I just wanted to make sure we said
say
that.
that again. I'm having a little trouble hearing
All
you.
right, my bad, bro. I think it's I've never used this fucking MacBook before, bro, but I always use my phone. Figured I'd try to do it the right way. So whatever I was just saying, we made sure we threw that out there, but now it's, go ahead and go back into whatever you was getting at. So you
Okay,
seen
so you want me to
the
pick up
psych
where I left off in the story?
the
All right, I
psych
walked in
yeah.
the psychic. Yeah, I just see a sign in the window that says psychic. I tell my brother, because I had a prior experience with a psychic that told me things that there's no way a person should have been able to know about me. And that convinced me that at least some of them were real. So I see this sign that says psychic in like Midtown Chicago, and there's like Ferraris and Lotuses outside. And I'm just like, I tell myself, well, if they can afford to be operating out of this area, this is the money place. Like the rent here is, it's several $1,000s a month. So somebody's paying them, so they must be good.
Right,
So I
right.
walk in the door, and this lady was like jet black hair, like really dark eyes, like kind of olive complected. I always to myself, like, I felt like she was like a Romanian gypsy, but I
Yeah,
don't know that's the truth. But that's always what I equated it to, like she was like a gypsy. Um, but anyway, as soon as I walked through the door, she looked at me and she said, "What's this terrible thing that's happened to you?" And now, like, just that part, that ain't that crazy because you probably could just look at my face and tell that I was like distraught, like because
yeah.
like I
You
said,
knew. That's what they
ever
do.
since I bailed out on that weed charge, like I was just sick to my stomach thinking they was getting ready to smoke me. So she said, "What's this terrible thing that's happened?"
Sure.
I told her, I said, "The police took my truck. I got caught with something on Interstate 94 I wasn't supposed to have." And she said, "They took everything from you." I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Here, shuffle these cards." So I did. I go to shuffle these tarot cards, and like one card just flipped out and landed face down on the floor. And I didn't think nothing of it. I was 27 years old at the time, and I didn't know anything about tarot or the occult or any of that. I do now because I study that shit every day of my life. But anyway, I reached down to pick the card up that dropped, and she stopped me. She like screamed at me. She said, "No, don't touch it." And I like jumped in my seat, because it was alarming. This lady like screamed, and so I'm just like, "My bad." And she got up from her seat. She walked around the table. She squatted down on the floor and flipped that card over. And as soon as she flipped it over, like she like gasped, like her jaw dropped, and she was like, "Oh," and was looking at me crazy. And I said, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And she said, I swear, like this is verbatim. This was 16 years ago now, but I still remember every word she said. And I've told this story so many times, like it just it's crazy. But she said, "I hate to be the one to have to tell you this, but this terrible thing that's happened to you, the reason why you're so scared, the reason why you came here to see me," she said, "you might as well forget about that." She said, "It's the least of your problems." She said, "In the middle of August, something is going to happen to you. And you cannot fathom the severity of this." She said, "Life, your whole world is about to be torn apart, and life as you know it is about to be over with." She said, it's going to look really bad at first, and you're going to think about giving up, but you're not going to give up. You're going to come back from this. She said, "It's not going to be overnight. It's going to take some time, but you will come back from it, and you will live a happy life and have 3 children." And I left out of there, and I was just like, "Ain't no way. Like, there's no way that's going to happen. Like, that's just crazy." And I told myself she was fake, that it was all just a act. And honestly, like, I put it out of my mind, and I didn't even think about it until the middle of August. Um, so I guess I'll switch to what happens after I saw the psychic. So I get that job call to go to work in Pine Island, New York. I rode a bus out there. The girl Emily bought me the bus ticket because I was fucked up. And I got a hotel room at that Legends Resort. It was in Vernon, New Jersey, about 15 minutes from the state line. And I worked in a place called Pine Island, New York. And the girl came out there. I asked her, to stay out of the bar, because it was going to cause trouble, and then she's going to be wanting to fight somebody. And I said, look, I don't need no problems. I don't want to even be questioned by no cops. Like, I don't want to see no police. Uh, so I would appreciate it if you would just not be down there. Next thing I know, like a week later, she's coming to pick me up from work. I just work from 6 a.m. to 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like 3:30 a.m. and she's waiting for me like at our we would meet at a certain spot that was about 15 minutes from our hotel room. And then we would go out on the line, wherever that may be. But then we would come back to that place where we left off in the morning, like the warehouse. So she was waiting for me there. I get in like 3:30 a.m. I jump in her car. She's like, I don't want to have to tell you this. Like, I hate to tell you this. I don't want to, but I feel like I have to tell you. Like, there's this guy, his name's Frog, and he grabbed my ass and asked me to, like talk nasty to her. And so I said, look, I mean, I told you that's what was going to happen, right? And now it did. So I said, whatever. Like, I'll talk to the guy. And long story short, I go to work. Like, who is this dude they call Frog? I need to talk to him. And I mean, I'm sure people like souped it up. And it got back to him that I was asking who he was. And him and his buddies, like, they already didn't like me because I wasn't part of their, like, I
Babe,
wasn't
the
part of the little clique,
AirPods,
I guess. What's up? What's that?
baby, it just connected. Did you disconnect them? No, I'm not good at doing none of this, babe. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like a horrible person at this. Recording too, this whole thing.
Tell him so.
Okay. I know, babe. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. No.
I know what I'm doing.
All right. Thanks, babe. Are you there? Sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's barely.
The same as it was. All right, so it was an accident. We accidentally just connected the AirPods. Bro, I'm not good at this, just so everybody knows this is our first interview. I know now things to do and not to do for next time. Maybe I should have used my cell phone. We got the Air Mac, the MacBook Pro connected to all these other devices, which I think might be why you could barely hear me. But go ahead, bro. I just wanted to explain what happened.
Yeah, I can just
Barely.
barely hear you.
But really, I just want people to be able to hear you, so it's all right. You know.
So anyway, I I think so. I go to work. I ask, who this guy is. Then the next thing I know, I'm walking in from work, and it's probably like 10 o'clock at night, and I see her down there at the bar, and I'm just like, oh hell no, like. In this room. Don't worry. So I'm mad, because she's back down there. Like, she done started this shit and started a problem. Like, I asked her to stay out of there. She didn't stay out of there. And exactly what I said was gonna happen happened. So, and then the next thing I know, she's back down there. So I was mad as hell. And I just kept, like, she jumps up and like runs after me, trying to talk to me. And I wasn't even looking at her. I'm just keeping it moving. Like, don't even talk to me right now. Like, I didn't want to talk to her. And the next thing I know, I hear somebody whistle. And I turn around, and here comes this little dude running up on me saying, yeah, I'm Frog, and swung on me. So I pieced his ass up, like, I'm not gonna let nobody punch me in the face. He didn't even, I don't even think he connected, but he tried.
Right,
And,
right.
I'm saying? Like, I'm not the one to just let somebody, I don't turn the other cheek. Like, I'm gonna smash you out if you run up on me like that.
Right.
And anyway, like, the security broke it up real quick, and I kept it moving. I wasn't trying to stay. Like, I didn't want no trouble, and I kept it moving and got into the elevator. And as soon as I got into the elevator, here comes these two big ass dudes and jumped me in the elevator. And I got my chin down, like I'm I'm trying to push these two dudes back out of the elevator doors, and finally I did, and the doors shut. So finally I'm going up to my room, and that's when I turned around and I saw Emily. I didn't notice at first because she was like far away from me, and then I wouldn't even look at her after that. But when I turned around after the dudes finally, after the doors of the elevator finally got shut, I saw that she was like beat up, She had like two black eyes already, and her nose, like, she was fucked up. Her nose was like this, like I'm pretty sure it was broken. But so anyway, that was that. Then I go to work the next day, and they were having a safety meeting at our job, and they gave this speech about the employees of our company, how they still represent our company outside of work, and that we don't need to be acting like assholes at the hotel. So I knew that it was directed towards us, fighting at the hotel. And the whole time, those dudes are over there like smiling and laughing and like pointing at me and shit. And that kind of pissed me off. So like once the safety meeting was done, like I walked past them and I was like, I don't know why y'all are so proud of yourselves, man. If it took three of y'all to beat me up, like you guys are pussies. And they're like, oh yeah, what time you get off work? We'll be waiting on you. And I told the one of them, I said, oh yeah, you gonna be waiting on me, huh? I said, I work on the environmental crew, and I got like 5 machetes in the back of my truck, and they're sharp as hell. I said, I'm gonna stick one of them down the back of my pants, and the first one of y'all that runs up on me and lays a finger on me, I will sever your head off. And yeah,
Yeah.
dead ass. I told him that. Then after the whole situation happened, all of them guys went straight to the detectives and were like, he said he's gonna cut our heads off, you know. Um, But like, I mean, I didn't want to cut nobody's head off, but I'm just saying, them dudes like jumped me. They said they were going to do it again, so I said, yeah, go ahead and try it, see what happens. And so I guess then the next thing after that happened, like I worked till crazy hours all that next week till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and the bar would be closed by the time I got home. Um, but people are probably going to be wondering how did Emily get beat up too. So I'll go back to that. So what had happened, and I didn't know
Hey,
this at the
babe, come
time,
here.
but this dude named Paul that I kind of messed with, he worked around those guys and he heard them saying they were going to jump me that night. So he went to my room and knocked on the door, told Emily, like, hey, you need to call him and tell him, like, these guys, they're, they're going to jump him tonight when he comes through the door. So she tried to call me, but
Yeah,
my phone was off because
you can't hear me.
it was becoming a problem at work. Like, we weren't supposed to be talking on our phones at work, but she would blow my phone up. My boss was cool about it, but like, it was kind of a joke about me and my cell phone at work. It's just like, yeah, I can't have this. Like, I'm just gonna have to turn my phone off. So I never got the call that they were gonna be waiting to jump me that night. Or,
Okay.
anyway, yeah, that happened. She heard they were gonna wait to beat me up, so she went down there and like confronted them. And I guess the dude said something to her. She punched him in the mouth with her keys. And
Dang.
when she did that, like this big lady that messed with them guys, like she beat the shit out of her.
Through
So
here.
then I come home. That was that. Anyway, uh, about a week or two
Hey,
later,
Jake, I don't
she
mean to
she was
interrupt
in
you, bro.
college.
Can you hear me?
Not any better, no,
Even better?
no.
All right, take them off. Take them off.
It's the same still.
All right, my bad, bro. Go ahead. And listen, we got 10 minutes because it just popped up. So, like that one time, go ahead and here. Go ahead and we gotta try to pretty much bust it out in the next 10 minutes if you can, bro. And
All right, so she went home to Lansing, Michigan. She was in college at Michigan State University. She had like one more test to take so she could get a certificate to become a teacher. She went home, took that test, and then came right back. And she had called me and was like, "I'm like 5 minutes away. Can you come outside and like walk me in so nobody messes with me?" I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." And then she said, "Hey, stop at the bar and get us a drink. Get me a vodka and tonic and get you whatever you want." So I stopped at the bar. I told the bartender, "Give me a vodka and tonic and a double shot of Crown Royal and cherry Coke." And she's standing there making the drinks. And all of a sudden, this dude, I'd never talked to him before, but I'd seen him at work. He had a weird name, and his name was on his hard hat. So I just knew him as the guy with the funny name. He came up and was like, "Hey, man, I know you don't know me, but Frog and his boys are over there, and they're on some bullshit, and they're about to jump you again." He said, "You ought to just go back up to your room."
that was cool that he gave you that heads up, though.
Yeah, yeah. I said, "I appreciate the heads up, bro, but I don't give a fuck Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and Ronnie Macho Man Savage down here. Like I ain't running.
Right, right.
So I pay for the drinks. I take my drinks. I walk out the door. As soon as I walk out the door, I hear that same whistle. Hey, 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 the same shit. And I knew who it was. You know, I knew it was Frog. So I just tell myself like, well, maybe if I just pretend like I don't hear him, I just ignore him. You know, maybe he'll go away. Well, I'm walking down the sidewalk out to the parking lot with these two drinks in my hand. Next thing I know, this little dude runs around me on the sidewalk, and then he gets in front of me and like pokes his chest out, you know, and he's like blocking my way. And I was like, "What, man?" He said, "You got my drinks," and I was just like, "What?" You know, like it shocked the hell out of me. You know, I didn't really even know what to say to it, and I was just like, I don't think I do, man." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I think you do." I'm like, "All right." Once I see where this is going, you know. And I turned my back to him and just like set the drinks down on the sidewalk. And while I was setting the drinks down, he like hooked off and was like punching me in the back. And I, I turned around and I beat the shit out of this dude, man. Like I'm like Mortal Kombat uppercutting him, like really like straight up lifting this dude up off the air. And he's like coming down. Like it was just like on Mortal Kombat when you're uppercut
Finish
someone.
him.
But I did that shit to him like two, three, maybe four times, man. Just like boom, knocking his ass out flat, sprawling out on the ground. And then he'd get back up, still talking shit. I tell him like, don't get up, lay your ass down there, don't you move.
He's one
He'd
of
get
them.
up, still talking shit. So here I'd hit him with another one. And then next thing I know, I get punched in the back of the head. And I turn around and there's all his boys there. And I said, look, I know I couldn't beat them all up. It was like five of them. And I said, look, I know y'all don't want to see your friend get beat up, but I didn't ask to fight him. I didn't, he followed me. Y'all followed me out here. I'm just trying to mind my own business, man. Like, if you don't want me to beat his ass, get him the fuck away from me. And one of them was like, yeah, he's kind of got a point, Frog, and he is whooping your ass. And so now then Frog, he like throws his arms out to the side. He's like, I don't care. Hit me, hit me, hit me. And I'm like, I don't want to hit you, bro. Just get the fuck away from me. Just leave me alone. And about that time, here comes Emily walking up, I guess wondering, where was I at? And she sees I'm like out of breath, like I didn't beat the shit out of this dude. And she sees who it is, She's like, oh my God, not these guys again. And then she said something slick, like just beat his ass or something, get it over with. And, he didn't like that, so he's like, "I'll slap the shit out of you, bitch!" Like he starts like like stepping towards, like walking towards her, like he was gonna do something to her. And I seen that, and I'm just like, "Oh hell no, dude! I tried to let you live, but you're not about to slap this girl in front of me." Like, so I started fucking him up again. And when I did that, like all his people just like dogpiled me. His little brother come running like 40 miles an hour and just boom, speared me in the side. My whole like from my knee to my rib cage, like my whole side turned black for like 3 weeks. Turned black and purple and green, yellow. But yeah, it was a gnarly bruise I had from that. And
So,
then
hey,
he
so
knocked me
you
off
got
of.
in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I want to give your social media because until I upgrade
Okay.
Zoom, I'm gonna have to.
All
It's
right.
gonna
So
cut me
yeah,
off.
long story short, after that second time, the hotel called the police. The police showed up at my room. They're like, "Oh, we heard what happened to you. We just need to know you're okay." I said, actually, hell no, I wasn't gonna call the cops, but since y'all are here, hell no, I ain't okay. So I'm just trying to go to work, man, make my paycheck and go home. And I can't come into where I live without having to fight these dudes. I had to fight three of them the first time. Tonight I had to fight five of them. Like, what I got to fight 10 of these dudes next? I just want to be left alone. I said, well, unfortunately, it's not a crime to fight in New Jersey. It's just a disorderly person charge. So unless they used a weapon against you or you were seriously injured or we personally witnessed the attack, we can't do nothing about it. So I'm like, all right. So I moved out of there. And then long story short, as fate would have it, in the dead ass middle of August, just like that psychic said, I went out one night and I was dropping somebody off at that hotel. And that biggest dude, one of the ones that jumped me in the elevator, he was in there talking shit, smacking people around off their bar stools, trying to get someone to fight him. I showed up. He's acting all that tough shit with me. He wants to go outside and fight. And I tell myself, like, well, the cops told me it's not a crime to fight as long as I don't use no weapons on him. So I go out. I'm like, maybe I just got to beat this dude's ass extra good, and he'll finally get the picture. And I would have never killed that dude on purpose. I wouldn't take his life, but that's what
Yeah,
ended up happening. I thought I just knocked him out and went home. Wake up the next morning, there's gold badges all on the doors, like, yo, you need to come with us. They pushed me in the courtroom, told me I was charged with first-degree murder.
that's
Uh,
that's deep.
that was 16 years ago today, as a matter of
And
fact.
we could do a separate one and continue, and I could probably merge them. I'm not sure how that works. So what we'll do for right now, because I want you to put your social media out, we're gonna say what we did. You led up to what happened. It was a fight that kept going on, ongoing stuff. He ended up dead. You got arrested, so you got charged with it. Now everyone knows you was exonerated after 7 years of 35. We could do a part two as to your prison experience, all the way up to getting finding out how good your lawyer was, like you told me, getting exonerated, and then where you're at right now. So and then by that time, I could be tinkering with this, figuring out what's going on, edit things. I've never used this before, so I apologize to anybody watching this. There was so many ghetto things that happened, bro. It connected my AirPods. I had this big blue thing pop up on the screen. I don't know if that's gonna show, but I'm still gonna upload it. I know that at least our fans, I know will appreciate the fact that we're trying, and I'm sure yours will too. Also, everybody who watches Finally Free Family Life, go check him out. You got TikTok, which is Jacob Gentry. What?
I don't even know.
Valiant Thor actually is the TikTok. Now that I think of it. All right,
My
so
Instagram is Valiant Thor 99. My
okay,
TikTok I thought was like Jacob Gentry 514 or something, but it does say Valiant Thor on it, I
yeah. So
believe.
by typing in Valiant Thor on TikTok, it'll bring it up. Instagram is
Valiant Thor 99.
Facebook is,
Facebook is just my name, Jacob Gentry, JACOBGENTRY.
and YouTube is Jacob's Ladder. Now I'm gonna
Jacob's
attach those.
Ladder 111.
Oh, my bad. Okay. I'm gonna attach those to this. So they won't have to just listen. I mean, I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, everybody go check him out. He's starting to do social media. He's putting stories out there. Me and him are doing this together. We're gonna start trying to collab. We're gonna try to meet in person eventually. We're teaming up. I want our fans to become his fans. His fans could become our fans if they choose to. But this video is actually about Jacob, and we wanted to let him get his story out there. He was already on After Prison Show and True Crime with Matt Cox, you
Yeah,
know.
Inside True Crime with Matt Cox.
So go check them out if you want. And also, like we said, we're